Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment, the Soph and Meg show. This is the first episode. Obviously I am Soph, this is Meg.
Hello everyone, I'm Meg.
Yeah, so obviously we're back. Big show really, we've got a lot to talk about. We haven't really done a Soph and Meg show before, so it's the first one, so bear with us for any technical difficulties. And we've had Meg already panicking about childcare and all sorts going on as well. So yeah, it's the first one. But you know what, I'm really excited to do it. I don't know about you, Meg, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I apologise everyone, my childcare issues are sorted just about. I'm excited to hear everyone's opinions, get people's comments and views, and hopefully throw a different side of some of the stories so that other people who haven't thought about it maybe can have a look at that as well.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right into it. I tweeted obviously asking for some topics from a few of you guys. And the first one I want to talk about is someone asked me what I think the best, currently the best 11 is at United. And I thought we could do this in a cool way where we do obviously player by player. So firstly, obviously the goalkeeper, I'm going to say David De Gea. I'm guessing you agree with that one, Meg?
Yeah, I agree with that one. I mean, Romero's great for a backup, but I'll say David De Gea, yeah.
Yeah. So De Gea in goal, right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, aka Spider-Man. I'll do the back four. So Wan-Bissaka right back, then obviously Maguire, our £80 million centre back. He's got to be there at the back. For me, has made a very decent start at United, I must say. A lot of people would choose Lindelof. I think Tuanzebe would be my choice to partner Maguire at the minute. I think Tuanzebe, when he has played, I think he's looked fantastic. I think he's only going to get better with game time, and that's why personally I would play him. I think for me, Lindelof gets bullied a bit too much. He got lucky at the weekend against Mane. He got bullied again. Obviously, the handball was given, but Mane got on the wrong side of him. I think physically he does lack a bit Lindelof, and I know it might seem a bit harsh. I do like him. Like I say, on the ball at his feet is good. He reads the game well. He's fairly quick. But I just think physically, Tuanzebe's got the edge over him. Left back, Luke Shaw has got to be our number one. But for me, I think we need to get another left back. I think since the injury, Luke Shaw mentally doesn't seem the same player. So that is my back four. Meg, what would you say your back four would be?
I pretty much agree with that, to be honest. Wan-Bissaka has probably been my favourite signing of the summer. I think he's come in, he's agile, he's pacey. He fits the United form for me. I agree, Maguire and Tuanzebe, they're probably our strongest two, although I do like the way Lindelof plays at times. When he's on form, I like the way he plays, but he gives the ball away sometimes in dangerous areas. He's nowhere near as bad as Phil Jones, but his form's up and down at times. And then I agree with the left-back situation. Probably our weakest link in that back four. Luke Shaw probably I would go for, but I agree we probably need a stronger sign in there.
Yeah, and midfield is a difficult one. Pogba's got to be in there, as much as it's obviously a love-hate relationship with Pogba. On form, if we're talking about players who are in form, you'd have to say Pogba would be in there. For me, I'd put McTominay in there. A lot of people slate me for defending McTominay, but for me, I think he's great in the middle. He shields the back four well. He's got the right attitude to be in the middle at United at the minute. I'm not saying he's the long-term replacement. I'm not saying he's the long-term answer. But at this current moment in time, you have to say Scott McTominay is probably our best midfielder. And to be honest, I thought Fred did well against Liverpool as well. So if we're doing a free in midfield, I'd probably say Fred, McTominay and Pogba would be my midfield three. I'm not sure what you think about that, Meg.
I actually really like McTominay's style of play. He is aggressive, he's passionate, he's not the best on the ball, but he works hard for the team, and it's not all about running, I understand that, but the way that he actually plays, his aggression actually, it outweighs it sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree with Pogba when he's on form and he's sitting off and he's playing, he's unplayable. He's the one person in that team that is on the pitch regardless. And then that third spot for me, Fred's been okay. He's not a standout performer, so he's not on he's not my first 11 all the time.
Yeah, I'll get that. I think if we're talking currently, I think you have to say Fred. You know what, against Liverpool, I think he played decently. So I would keep him in there. I don't think he deserves to be dropped as such after that game, which is why I'm saying I'll put him in there. For me, Pereira playing more centrally in that 10 was so much more effective. Again, you could argue that he should be in that midfield, but not on the right-hand side. Not on the right-hand side at all, because when he's been pushed out there, he's ineffective. And Pereira, I love him as a player. And I think Brendan's been on loan abroad. He's looked fantastic. He just hasn't quite cut it in the Premier League. But I thought against Liverpool at the weekend, I thought we probably saw the best game Pereira has had and see that he loves the club. Will he make it as a long-term player at United? Probably not. I think a lot of our squad is bang average, if you're completely honest. And they're not good enough to be fighting for a title. However, in our current moment, you have to say that Pereira, he did well against Liverpool. And again, I think he should start in at number 10. I'd prefer him there to Lingard right at this moment in time.
Yeah, Pereira's a bit like Fred, isn't it? Pereira always seemed to have a good pre-season. Like, he had a fast pre-season.
Pre-season Perlo.
Pardon?
Pre-season Perlo, people like to call him.
That's it. He always smashes it pre-season. And whether it's because he's not consistent in having enough game time, so his play just kind of drops back off.
Yeah.
But out of him, Lingard, for me, whoever's hitting it in training plays.
Yeah.
Whoever's giving it the most in training. If they're producing it in training, you expect them to produce it on a Saturday, Sunday, or a Thursday evening.
Yeah, I completely agree. And a lot of people question what Ollie has been doing in training, of course. And because on the pitch, let's face it, we haven't looked like we've had a plan. It's been quite concerning. We've had a super chat from Alex, so I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you very much. He says, "Hi, ladies. What do you think about us playing at the back three of Maguire, Tuanzebe and Lindelof? With our fullbacks further forward, is this the way forward?" I really like the sound of that. I think if you're playing at Wan-Bissaka, I think he's it obviously needs to improve going forward. He's a lot better defensively. Needs to improve his end product for that to be more effective. On the left-hand side, I think I'd rather have Delo playing at left-back if he's going to be a left wing-back role, because I think Delo is much more suited to that. Ashley Young obviously has been played there as well. But yeah, I think them as a back three could be really effective. We've got a bit of pace, we've got experience in there, and a lot more solid with the likes of Tuanzebe and Maguire, I think, physically. It's an interesting one. Meg, what do you think about that back three?
Actually, when we played against Liverpool, and we especially in that first half, we pinned their fullbacks back because our fullbacks were pressing.
Yeah.
And so I like that style of play. I like to be on the front foot. I used to play in a back three. I quite like being in a back three. It means you get that extra bit of support, and someone's always covering you.
Oh, was that little McTominay in front of you in that role when you played that back three? Yeah.
So you've always got that extra bit of support, whether it's in the middle and you've got the defensive midfielder, whether the right centre back has got the sweeper, if you want to call it, if they're going to play that role. There's always someone that can slot about. Yeah. But those players have got it. You know how Liverpool play a front three and they interlink, they change, and it's efficient. It doesn't affect the flow. That has to happen at the back as well. If you're playing a three, it needs to be efficient. It needs to flow. Yep. So if one person does step out, everyone sweeps round. If it goes across, everyone sweeps round. It's whether they can play. Those players can play that role.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the Palace game, I mean, I was there at Old Trafford. Their goal came from the fact that obviously Maguire and Lindelof, they weren't close enough as a back two. Lindelof went ahead of the ball again. He got out-muscled by Ayew. Maguire wasn't close enough sweeping around behind him, and they got him behind from a long ball, which should never happen. But maybe in a back three, obviously they will need some good coaching, which is where Ollie comes into this. But maybe if they're coached correctly, that could be really effective to have three there rather than two. And yeah, I completely agree with it, but they need to be coached properly. And at the minute, are they being coached by Ollie? Is he a good enough coach? People are calling him a glorified PE teacher. People are saying he just puts the cones out. They're not really doing anything productive. And you have to say on the pitch, a lot of time you're looking at it and we don't look like we've got a clear plan. Against Liverpool at the weekend, I think that is us now. We are a counter-attacking team. If we look at it under Ollie, we're a team that if we're playing against somebody who's got two banks of four, we struggle to break them down. We're not creative enough. We haven't got the quality going forward or the conviction. However, if the team's coming at us, we've got Dan James and Rashford on the break who can definitely hurt teams with their pace, because at times they can be absolutely unplayable. And I think that's what it comes down to really, is Ollie a good enough coach to coach the defenders to play in a back three and have that understanding that you're talking about.
I mean, a glorified PE teacher at times, that's what it is like, isn't it? It's just a joke sometimes. There isn't like a set style of playing. But is that because Ollie hasn't got the players that he wants to play in his style?
Yep.
So has he got a style, but he can't infiltrate that style into the United squad because there aren't the players to play it or play it well? So that is just a flip side of the coin.
I think you have to say as well, obviously, the three signings that he has made, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, James, have all been positive influences this season. They've been our bright sparks, really. And Ollie deserves some credit for that.
like I said, Wan-Bissaka's probably my favourite signing, and it's been probably my favourite player from the start of the season to now.
Yeah.
But those 3 signings, that's the style that he's going to go for in the signings in the long run.
Yeah.
Then all fair enough. I'm with him for it, because those 3 players have played all as much as they can really in terms of the squad. And like Maguire's, he's got his place. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. Wan-Bissaka, I'd always probably start, if he's available, you'd start him. Dan James is a bit of a different one, because normally subs-wise, that's where you have the changes in the front 3 or the attacking players. But the 3 signings, I like them. So we have another 3 signings in January, or however many signings in January, and that's the style that he's going for.
Yeah.
Will that start to form his style of play?
Yeah, and I think Dan James,
suit him.
Yeah, Dan James, who you mentioned there, I think he surprised absolutely everyone, me included. I mean, I was really excited at his signing. I thought it'd be one for the future. He's come in and he's blown everyone away. And I think it's quite concerning, really, that a player has come from the Championship, and let's face it, he's probably been our best player this season, because he's the only player that gets me off my seat at the minute. I think he's just fearless and he attacks, and I do think he's a bit lightweight at times. He got clattered against Liverpool a few times, and I think that is because he's quite small. But at the same time, he's that fast that the only way to stop him is to absolutely hammer him, it seems. But he shouldn't be our main go-to. He didn't get signed to be our main go-to, definitely not. I think he was signed as more of an impact player, as you say, and it's turned out that actually he's probably the first name on the team sheet right now. And that, for me, is a worry.
Definitely. We lack that, almost like that experienced player. I mean, Rashford, don't get me wrong, he is experienced in terms of Premier League games and playing for Manchester United. But is he that strong player? Like, he's a runner. He runs off the ball.
He did body Van Dijk though. He did body Van Dijk though.
He did. He got him crawling. I was loving that.
That was the best bit of the game. Best bit.
But him and Dan James very similar. Like, they want to run for the ball.
Yeah.
Rashford wants to run at people. Dan James wants to run at people. But who's that player that's holding the ball?
Yeah. I agree. That's why, I mean, if you look at it, that's why Mandzukic was linked with us, wasn't it? Someone like Mandzukic, Zlatan has even been linked with United again. Do you think we need that kind of plan B player? Let's face it, Marouane Fellaini was that guy, and we got rid of him because people complained they didn't want to see long ball. But for me, we need a second option. If we can't always running behind, especially, like I say, teams have figured us out there. They know that they need to get into 2 banks of 4. We will struggle to break them down. Surely we need that second option. I think not replacing Lukaku was a massive error on the part of Ollie, on the board, whoever's fault it was. That's a big problem, not replacing Lukaku. Definitely we need to sign another striker in the summer, in January, and a creative midfielder. That would be my main 2 priorities right now.
Definitely. If we don't get a striker in January, there is a serious problem, and it's a serious problem from the board. Not just it's a serious problem for the manager and for the whole of the fans, really. Yeah. But it's a problem within the board, because we are crying out for a striker, and we're crying out for someone who can hold the ball up, who can target players. And do you know what? Like you said, teams are getting into 2 banks of 4 and just saying, right, break us down. And we can't. We're not doing it. We shift the ball left, right, but we're not doing it properly enough to create little gaps or holes or finding them. And like, you look at Man City, and I hate to say it, but they are so good at playing that style. You can stick 2 back to 4 behind the ball, and they will still break you down. They will do passes. They're so clever with their play. We're not. We are actually, at the moment, we're better without the ball.
Yeah, we're playing crab. Let's face it, we play crab football at the minute. We play slow, sideways passing. We're completely out of ideas. It's almost like a bit like on the Jose, where people said players were absolutely petrified to take risks. It seems like that. We're scared to take risks on the ball. Where do you see people driving forwards? The amount of time to see Harry Maguire at Leicester get the ball, drive forwards, have a shot. He's scored some good goals from outside the box from just taking a risk and driving. And I'm not saying it's just Harry Maguire, but that's one example I've seen. He gets the ball and he passes it out to the fullback. Like 9 times out of 10 it comes back to him and then back out the other side. And we're just constantly doing that but not getting anywhere. And eventually it breaks down and then the other team gets the ball back and counter on us. And I just think, where is the mindset? Where's the game plan there? And we just simply do not have one. And I think that is down to the fact that the personnel, like you mentioned, I don't think Ollie has got the right personnel, which is why I'm not completely Ollie out. But I also do agree with the people who question his tactics and question what are we working on in the training ground, because week in, week out we're seeing the same issues now. Why aren't we playing attack versus defence, for example, in training and trying to break teams down? Why are we lacking so many ideas? Because Rashford, realistically, his pace is absolutely frightening. Martial, I know he's been injured, but if he comes back in, he can be absolutely frightening to play against. But for me, we come to feet too much. We don't run the channels enough. And the movement going forwards is terrible, which is why I feel sorry for the likes of Pogba, who then has to take too many touches on the ball. And people criticise him for that, but I think across the board, tactically, Ollie does deserve to be questioned. I've got to admit that.
Yeah, I mean, coming from two players, the idea of when you're attacking is either, if we're going to go long ball, we'll get them to drop a bit so there's space in the front of you. Yeah. As soon as they start coming towards you and pushing up the pitch, then you can dink in a ball behind. It's about moving the defenders, moving the other team about the way that you want it to, and we just don't seem to be able to do it.
It's like we try to do it, but in slow motion. Like the pace that we do it at is just simply not going to move any team.
Exactly what we're going to tell them. Like, we're holding on for that long, and then they're like, right, we're going to put it long, so they just drop.
Yeah.
They know how we're going to play. We've not got that spark to say we're going to do something different.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. And Ramian in the chat says Man United are really bad. Ramian, I agree. We are really bad, but at the same time, you couldn't beat us when we were at our worst. So, yeah, you can't say too much about it right now, Ramian. Alright, so the front three, we've discussed the midfield for a long time there, but it deserves discussing. Obviously, Rashford for me should be out wide. I don't think Rashford is a central striker. If he plays for me, he should be out wide. I think he's far better, like for England, for example, when he cut in and he scored that goal the other week. That's where he is most effective for me, running those channels. So I put Rashford maybe on the left, Dan James out on the right, or vice versa, to be fair. And then Martial would be my number 9. I think Martial is a number 9. I'm hoping he gets back fit and gets back into the swing of it, but that would be my ideal front three. Meg, what about you?
I would put money on it that is every Man United fan's front three. Because
that's all we've got. That's all we've got.
We haven't got anyone else. We've got no other options. We've got Greenwood. He's 17. Well, he's 18 now, isn't he? But
yeah.
We've got no one else. So I agree, but there's nothing else to say on it.
Yeah, no, it's right. A complete lack of choice. But there's my 11 anyway. Talk about Ollie. Frank Lampard, very similar situation at Chelsea this season. He's took over a young team, transfer ban. He hasn't been able to get many signings in. Obviously, Abraham has come in, for example, but he hasn't made a signing. He's got a young team, but for me, they're playing with an identity. You can see their style of play. You can see their methods. They're pressing high as a team. There's a clear plan there. Mason Mount is absolutely flourishing and blossoming as a player underneath him. But what do you think about Lampard? Is he a better manager than Ollie, or is it too early to judge that? Do we need to give Ollie time to get the players in? Has Lampard simply started with a better squad than what Ollie has? I think it's a really interesting comparison.
I think the two managers are similar in ways. Like you said, they're both starting out. They both come from a lower league to a high league, and they're being thrown pretty much in the deep end. But Ollie's had a chance to make signings, and Lampard hasn't. And Lampard has got this identity and got them playing in a style that they're flowing, and they're flourishing in it. The young players are flourishing in that style. Yeah. I think Ollie hasn't found a style that young players in the United squad flourishing yet.
Yeah. We talk about Ollie's style. When he first took over as manager, obviously, we were playing that attacking style. We were playing in that high press. We looked so exciting to watch. I remember that game against Cardiff when we absolutely battered them. Rashford scored the free kick. Rashford shouldn't be on free kicks since that game, definitely. But Rashford scored that free kick, and we looked at it. We looked so sharp. We were keeping the ball, playing little 1-2s. Everyone was at angles. When someone was on the ball, there was always an option. We were always looking to pass forwards. What has happened since that point?
Well, I've got no idea, except for a bad transfer season, and I don't know whether that's kind of affected the players. And you know, they probably know that players should have come in. They probably know that some of them shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
That will affect you. You know, I think that in terms of like Phil Jones and players like that, they know they shouldn't be at that club. Matta knows really he's probably on the way out soon. Young probably knows he's on the way out soon. Well, should be on the way out soon, really.
Yeah.
Players' mentality in that kind of situation can affect a whole squad.
Yeah, of course it can. I agree. And obviously Pogba, there's a lot of rumours about him being the virus. We don't know what he said to players in the change rooms. We don't know that situation there. But it is interesting. That's all going to affect their morale, and I agree. I worry that it's like a mentality issue where the players, with a new manager coming in, they think we need to fight for the badge, we need to earn a place. And the second that they are comfortable, the second that the manager is settled, it's like they slack off. It's like they're in their minds and in their game, they're not as bothered anymore. And I hope I am wrong in that, but that's the way it looks to me as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, they've had that first impressions. They've had that 12 games, whatever we had in the, when Ollie came in.
Yeah.
We went on that run. And then that's like the honeymoon period. Well, I'm settled now. I've got my place. I'm done, dusted. I'm cushy.
Cushy, yeah.
Yeah. Not the case. And our players need to start looking at that and saying, you know what, this isn't the case. And, you know, we got rid of Smalling. I forgot about him.
Mike.
He was gone. But it needs to take that. It needs to take the players away.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that Lila? Lila's trying to get in the stream. Bless her. I do think, though, in terms of the mentality, I think there's obvious an issue with the core players that we've got, and a mentality issue there because they've failed many managers before. And that's one thing that worries me. But at the same time, you have to say, you know what, Ollie is trying to get the deadwood out. You mentioned Smalling there, he's gone. Lukaku's gone. Let's face it, I don't think Ollie wanted him at United. So he's getting rid of some of the players. It's going to take more than one window, and I completely get that, which is why I think he needs to have time. But at the same time, the football on the pitch is concerning me, definitely. I don't want us to become a sacking club, as we like to call it, but ultimately we have. But I just hope that Ollie is given that extra time. But at the same time, I do completely understand the questioning. But let's move on to the women's team anyway, because they're more positive. And at the minute, this is all a bit sombre talking about United. Beating City at the weekend, Meg. What did you think about the game?
Loved it. To be fair, I missed the game whilst it was playing.
Yeah.
However, I got back the result, put the FA player on, and I watched the highlights. I loved it. And you know what? It's not that much of a shock to me.
Yeah.
I had a little feeling beforehand that we'd do well against them. But Casey Stoney, the manager, she has got them players playing with confidence. They know their roles. She's trusted the players. I mean, she did get rid of some moving up from the Championship to the Super League, but she's trusted in them players. She brought in girls to add experience.
Yeah.
And she's done it in the right way. She hasn't completely rehauled on a new team. She's brought in a couple of players, bit of experience, mixed in with the girls that she's trusted, and they're shining.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like I say, it's a positive thing that United is the women's team. They seem to be excelling, getting better week in, week out. I watched the game against Spurs, and to be honest, they completely dominated that game. I think Galton is having a fantastic season out on the left. I think she's looking really good. For me, she's been a standout player so far. And you got players like Sigsworth, who obviously haven't been starting of late, but come on and they can change the game. They're just such ballers. And of course, Lauren James as well. I know obviously she was suspended. She got sent off recently. But other than that, her game was terrific. I mean, she's got such confidence. She seems to breeze past players. Like, she makes it look so easy. And the age that she's at as well, like, she's only going to get better and better. And I think the thing is for United now is just to keep hold of these players. We look what happened to Greenwood, and it'd be interesting to see if they can keep hold of these players. But yeah, definitely the positive. Where realistically, and Katie Zellum, we've just seen Paul's comment there. Yeah, Katie Zellum is fantastic as well. Obviously, leader as well. Great goal at the weekend. But where realistically do you think the women's team can get this season, or what is the expectation for them?
I mean, if you had said this at the start of the season, having not played a game, you'd have said, right, stay up first and foremost. Ideally, I didn't really think that we would touch Man City or Arsenal or Chelsea, really.
Yeah.
But the way that the women's game at the moment, Arsenal have already lost. Man City are top of the league. They haven't conceded in the league, but we've just gone and put 2 past them in the Continental Cup. So they are beatable.
Yeah. They're
beatable. Chelsea, I think, will be a tough game. But you've got like the Liverpool, who used to be a great team. I think they've fallen off. Yeah,
they have, definitely.
And I reckon we will finish. I think we'll finish 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to disagree with that. I think it's a long season. I get that completely. But I think with the nature of the players that United have got right now, the confidence from that City game that they will take as well, I can only see them getting better and better. I'm going to even say second. You know, I think they can finish second this season. City, I think, will win it, but I think it'll be a tight one. I really do. I think United are still going to surprise a lot of teams and a lot of fans as well going into it. But it's such an exciting time, especially when the men's team is so bad at the minute. It's just really good to hear that the ladies are representing United and doing it in the right way. And Casey Stoney, like you say, is doing a fantastic job there. She was the perfect person to take over that club, and she's doing a great job and doing everyone proud. The next question. Someone asked me, what makes a top red, or what makes a good fan? Is it buying all the merchandise? Is it having the new kit? Is it watching every game in the stadium? Is it following it on TV? What would you define as a top red, or like a good fan, or a perfect fan as such? It's a good question.
It is a tough one. From coming from someone who can't get to the games all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you can't be there. For me.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of people who can support Manchester United. Is a family club. Like, we're not just, we are the elite, but there are people who can't afford to get there all the time. That doesn't mean that they're like second-hand fans.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things. They can't be there. There are people who are in other countries that can't just fly into Old Trafford, every week.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, a lot of people that I go with are from London, and they travel a lot further than what I do to get there, and they travel a lot further than obviously than local Manx or top reds, as people like to call it. So you could argue that surely they are more dedicated than your average fan, because they're waking up at mad times, like you say, from abroad to watch it, or they're travelling mad hours to get to games. I think it's really hard to define a perfect fan or a top red. For me, you can't define it by distance at all. And I know I'm from Wolverhampton and I'm saying that, so of course I'm going to say that. But for me, you can't do that. Like, you never know how someone is linked to a club. There'll be some way that someone is linked. You can't judge it on distances.
Right. There's, for me, someone who literally bleeds Manchester United. Someone who will back them when we are playing like shit, like we are. Someone who, we're not playing well, I still support them. I'm still going to back them. I'm still going to say, even if I'm wrong, I'll still say, yeah, we're class.
Yeah.
Someone who goes, Manchester's blue. No, it's not. It's red.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've got to agree with that. And all this merchandise stuff, I know I'm wearing merchandise right now. It doesn't matter about that. Like you say, money. It's not cheap to be a football fan nowadays. It's not cheap to represent, especially a club like Manchester United. If you look at Bury FC, obviously what happened recently, and then you saw the fans outside the stadium absolutely crying. If that happened to my club, I would feel exactly the same. I would be crying, and I think that shows that you've got a deep love for Manchester United. And you're right, if it affects you, like Man United lose, it affects my whole week. Not just my weekend, it affects my whole week. I'm in a rubbish mood. At work, I get absolutely terrorised by the kids because I work with a few Arsenal fans, a few Wolves fans right now, and Wolves fans can take the mick out of me, and that has never been able to happen. And I absolutely hate it. So it affects my life. When Manchester United aren't doing well, it affects my life, it affects everything. Because realistically, at the weekend, I look forward to watching my club play. It's a highlight for me. It's something that I always look forward to. No matter how crap we are or how shit we've played the week before, I always get that niggling feeling before a game where I've got that positivity, and I'm expecting us to pull something out the bag. The weekend against Liverpool, in my pre-match video, I said I was expecting us to win 2-1, and people thought I was absolutely nuts, and it's because rivalry, it just does something different, but Manchester United playing, it gives you that buzz, and you just hope that something special is going to happen, because we're so used to that happening at United.
Definitely, like you said, I back them 100%. So if we're playing like rubbish and we're still going into a Liverpool game, you're still backing United to win.
Yeah.
And that's an expectation of mine. Like, with Manchester United, I've followed them since I was born. Like, that's what I expect to see. Whether we're playing well or not, I still expect it. I still expect to be winning.
Yeah, I mean, I saw tweets at the weekend saying, I hope Manchester United lose to Liverpool this weekend. It means Ollie gets sacked. For me, that is not a real fan. You should never want your team to lose. Never. But especially against Liverpool, like, that is atrocious, and that isn't a real fan for me. That is just somebody who gets carried away on social media. Because social media, I think, has a big part in this hate towards the manager or hate towards certain players. I think a lot of people are affected and take stuff too literally on social media. I don't know how you feel about it. What is your opinion, Meg, on social media to do with football? Obviously, racism is a big thing on social media right now to do with football. Do you think it's a positive or negative thing in context of the game?
Used in the correct way, I think social media is an incredible tool. But when certain people can hide behind a computer screen or hide behind just words, then it's just ridiculous. For me, you live by a rule of if you would say it to someone's face, you can say it online. Guarantee half these people aren't saying the same thing in real person. They're saying it online because one, it gets them likes or retweets.
Yeah.
If you're not going to say it in like, if you wouldn't say it face to face to somebody, then don't say it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Matthew, good to see you in the chat. He says, personally, I don't think Ollie is a great manager. The fact we are finally praising him after one change of tactics, after numerous slip-ups, with the same style week in, week out, shows our standards. An interesting point. Very interesting point. And the Liverpool game obviously was where the tactics did change, like you say. But if we're talking about the change, for me, he made the game worse when he made a change. He put Pereira deeper out onto the right-hand side. And for me, that then gave Liverpool immediate control of the game. We lacked an outlet after that point. And I thought Liverpool always looked like scoring. So I think if you look at it tactically, that change that he did make in the game, I don't think it was the right one. I don't know what you think about that, Meg.
No, well, they scored after the change, really, didn't they? So I think if they'd have scored any time earlier, if they'd done it earlier, then they'd probably gone on and won, really.
Yeah.
They were pressing towards the end. We always criticise, well, a lot of people criticise Ollie about his lack of substitutes earlier on in the game. And then when he does make one, it goes pear-shaped. So he can't win, can he?
No.
It goes back to the players, though. What players have we got on that are going to make a difference? It's so hard in games sometimes to actually make a change. Like coming from, like we've been on a pitch where it's been really tight and tense, and then the manager wants to make a change. It doesn't work.
Yeah. No.
Because it changes the whole situation on a pitch. It changes not only the person, like the people on the pitch, but their mentality as well. Like you see, someone's coming on, and it changes the way you're playing.
Yeah, it's that lack of competition and like a depth in the squad as well, isn't it? Like we haven't got many players who are competing for places. You look at Rashford, for example. He's been pretty much on one leg, and he's still starting games. And I think that just shows that the lack of competition that does affect a player's drive as well. It shouldn't. Like you're playing for Man United, you should always be up for it. But realistically, it does. As a player myself and yourself, you will know that if there's competition behind you, you do play better. Definitely, that is a fact. And I think we lack that at United, and we've never lacked that really, but we definitely do lack it at the minute. Big point to talk on. The Saudi takeover. There's rumours that obviously a Saudi Arabian family want to bid on Manchester United. Apparently United senior staff are meeting up with them at some point. Whether it's to do with a takeover deal or what, I'm not sure. Would you take a Saudi Arabia takeover? Would you take new owners at United?
Short and simple, yeah, I would. I feel like we need it. I feel like we need investment. We need to sort out our off-the-field situation and environment because it will affect on-field at times. My only concern is that it will just turn Manchester United into a business, not a football club. And it is starting to happen. Man City are pretty much... Look at them. They were asking for people to be influencers on Champions League games I've seen on social media. That's not a football club. That's a business. That's not... That football club has been turned into a business. Chelsea went through it. They just had money thrown at them.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but in my opinion, we are already a business. I think that's already happened. The Glazers take a lot of money out of the club for themselves, for their own pockets, and we haven't seen that much put back into it. I know people say, I can say that you just signed a defender for £80 million, but yeah, you sold Lukaku for how much? 60, 65? So realistically, we haven't spent that much. Considering we were having a rebuild, we haven't had that much input into the squad. We shouldn't be in the position we are in now when we are Manchester United, and I do put a lot of that down to the board. And like I say, I genuinely think that we are already a business. I think the Glazers have already made us into a business. They're more bothered about obviously the profits they make from merchandise and whatever, and hitting records week in, week out in terms of the stock market. For me, we're already a business, and I'm up for a takeover. Whether the Saudis is the right takeover, I'm not sure, but I definitely think we need to get rid of the Glazers. I think they are a big issue, and along with that, I think Ed Woodward is a big issue as well. Let's see what some people are saying in the chat about that as well, because I think it's really, really interesting. Matthew says, could be argued that we're a business with a football squad on the side currently. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Rami says, self-question from me and you. Who do we believe is the best defender of all time? He says he's Konchesky, just joking, Maldini. Who is Meg is a defender, so I'm going to ask Meg first this one. Who is the best defender of all time in your eyes?
Titus Bramble. I'm joking.
He was rapid though. He was absolutely rapid if I remember rightly.
Of all time, it's a hard one because
Phil Jones.
I idolised the Ferdinand and Vidic partnership. I absolutely idolised it as growing up. So I can't see past it. I'm just like, well, you know when people say, oh, what's your best partnership at Man United? Vidic and Ferdinand.
Easy.
Don't talk to me about anyone else. That's my view. So I find it really hard to see past either of them. But there will be so many arguments to be like, nah, they're not the greatest of all time. But I'm saying one of them.
As a United fan, I guess you're biased towards those two. We all fell in love with them two as a partnership, of course. Jaap Stam was another one as well. Absolutely loved him. And I love watching Stam in, obviously, the charity games that he's been playing in recently, and he just absolutely crushes players still. He's still got that mentality, and I just love watching Stam play. Yeah, so Stam was up there for me as well. Depends, does it have to be a centre-back? If it's a full-back, Roberto Carlos for me was amazing. I used to love watching Roberto Carlos play, so I think he would be up there for me as a defender. Get in the chat as well, guys, and let me know who your favourite defender was to watch. Matthew says Maguire is the best one of all time. Slabhead is up there. I'll be interested to see, to be fair, what people say. It doesn't have to be obviously from a club in particular. If we're choosing players of all time, I've already said obviously Paul Scholes was my idol. And I absolutely loved him. And another player who, for me, was just so entertaining to watch, and I love watching clips even now, was Ronaldinho. That guy was just magic. But for best defender of all time, Roberto Carlos was up there for me, definitely. Maldini was obviously fantastic as well. But it's a tough one because I never really focused on defenders that much because I've always been an attacking player. Scholes I loved, but he could not tackle for shit. He was absolutely awful at tackling. But yeah, Meg, who is your favourite player of all time? It doesn't have to be a defender, just in general.
You put me on the spot. I don't know. I can't choose just one person. All I know, right, is that we should be grateful that Messi and Ronaldo are in our generation. I've been able to watch them.
If you had to choose one, though, who would it be?
Ronaldo.
Yeah, me too. United bias again.
There's no hesitation on it, Ronaldo.
Yeah, I say that, but in a way that I know I'll openly admit I am biased because I'm a United fan, and I openly admit that, but purely because of United reasons, Ronaldo will always be the guy that I choose. But also because in the air, I just think and it just seems to be getting better with age. I don't know what it is. He adapts his game, and he's getting so much better with age. But yeah, I'm literally biased. Paul says Eric Cantona is his favourite player of all time. Good, it's a good choice. Very good shout.
I think it is hard when you've got people who have watched different United teams. Like I said, I grew, starting playing football. It was Ferdinand and Vidic.
Yeah.
Like they were the two that were playing at the time. Like you'll chat to other people and like people who are older than us, and they'll say someone else. People now, they're going to come through and be like, Sterling's amazing. Yeah, do you remember when Sterling was shit? I
do.
I
do. Do you remember when Sterling tripped over the turf, the grass, and got a penalty for it? I do. Yeah.
You're going to ask people of different ages. You're going to get people to say, "How have you not chosen this person?" Well, because I don't really remember them playing.
Yeah, it's true. Did say Soph got a selfie with Scholes. I just fainted again. Honestly, that was an amazing experience getting a picture of Scholes. He was prank calling me as well on the picture, so he had my number. So that's what he was doing. I was absolutely buzzing with that. Meeting your idol, great feeling. Matthew says Ronaldinho, United aside, is my favourite player. Almost joined my local team St Mirren for a bit to get used to Europe before a massive move, but joined PSG not long after. Big mistake. Imagine seeing Ronaldinho at St Mirren, Meg.
Going down in the history book.
Imagine. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he almost joined St Mirren. So that is something that I have learned today, definitely. But what an entertaining player. And the thing that always sticks in my head was a little back pass that he did. and he passed it with his back. That was just mad.
Yeah,
I've tried that a few times in a game, not
He
successful.
lost him and then he knocks out the World Cup. So
Blame Seaman for that one. Blame Seaman.
one great, but he did that, so he's not my favourite.
Yeah, true. But then obviously the Ronaldo and Rooney incident in the World Cup, Euros as well. Sorry, that was one. I remember crying at that, booting the ball against the fence. I was absolutely heartbroken. Hated it. Ramian says, one more question. In 2004, Rafa wanted to sign one more Spaniard in that summer. That man was Villa. Would have won the league if he was up front. David Villa, again, a very good player. I went to the MLS. Too good for the MLS when he went there. Did you ever watch David Villa play?
No.
So I've played striker for Spain. Really good striker for Spain, to be honest with you. Obviously played in the MLS as well, banging in goals for fun. He was just a natural goal scorer, very good player. And to be fair, I would have liked to see him in the Premier League. Probably not a Liverpool Ramian, but no, yeah, I agree. He would have transformed the team. But he went to the MLS far too early, in my opinion.
Teams were always one player off winning the league, though, aren't they? So
we're not.
We're about 10.
We're 11. We're 11 players. Red Devil says, Sophie, is that your sister? No, this is Megan, who I met playing football. She's a centre back. Also a United fan.
Everyone. Clean up tower with this head.
She's a United fan as well. David Villa was world class, says Paul. I'd agree with that. Matthew says, as far as I know, he actually agreed a deal for St Mirren, or at least verbally agreed one, but PSG hijacked it late, similar to Malcolm to Barcelona a year ago, similar to Dan James to Leeds and then coming to United, you could say. There was a picture of Dan James holding up a Leeds shirt before he signed for Manchester United, and then obviously he's playing for United then. Did you know that, Meg?
I did, but isn't that the most crazy story? Like, he's holding a shirt and then he gets a phone call like, you're leaving. We're going to Man United.
Of all shirts, Leeds as well. I hope he washed his hands before he got to United, I tell you.
Imagine just saying, see, I've got to just drop this shirt. I'm just going to go get a red one now. Like, ridiculous, crazy.
I mean, it's like, oh shit, wrong United. Bye. Yeah, mad story. When I heard about that, it's crazy. I remember seeing the pictures of it thinking, he's obviously not coming to United. That's just bullshit rumours like they all are during summer. But it actually worked. Held up a Leeds shirt, but grew some brain cells, some boy. For him to even touch a Leeds shirt, Matthew, I think it took some doing, to be honest with you. Poor kid. So, have you played against Meg? We think we have played against each other, don't we, Meg?
When we were younger, I reckon we have, but when we've been adults, no. Although I did her in training a couple of times.
She was obviously concussed from headering the ball too much, to be fair, to think about that. No, Meg used to play for Villa. I used to play for Wolves, and as kids, we definitely must have played against each other. Don't fully remember it, but yeah, we must have played against each other because we're very obviously similar age. We must have been around at the same time. Just didn't know each other at that point.
No, I'm pretty sure we won the league as well, so pretty sure we would have won the games. Put that down.
It's all because of your goal difference.
Yeah, I'm having that.
Matthew says, Jemba, another St Mirren legend, spent 6 months in Paisley and was absolutely shite. Jemba, so good they named him twice, a bit like JJ Okocha, wasn't he?
How do these players even play for United? I don't know.
I reckon these players could start for United right now. That's how bad we are in this current state of affairs. First name on the team sheet would be Eric Jemba. Someone's asked if you're an Arsenal fan, Meg. I'll let you answer that one.
No. And let me tell you, I don't know about you, but when we were growing up, I'm at that age where Arsenal were class when I was a kid, and you supported Man United or you supported Arsenal, and I was Man United, and I still to this day, the game against Arsenal is one of my biggest games, and if we lose, I am so annoyed, it's ridiculous. That's the 2 games in the year where if we lose, don't talk to me. I do not like it. I can't, that game and the Liverpool game for me are bigger than the Man City games. That's how as a child when we were growing up, that's how big those 2 games were.
I think for most United fans, I think definitely you'd say that Liverpool, obviously the rivalry is just mad. It's unrivaled, if you can say that. But yeah. Arsenal definitely as well is a massive game. I went to Old Trafford against Arsenal. and I felt sick before the game started, to be honest with you, because I was just thinking, not only is it's Arsenal and obviously the previous Vieira against Keane and everything that went on there, but also we mentioned social media just, but the absolute backlash that you get as United fans from Arsenal fans on social media, and vice versa, to be honest. I think the fixture now for anybody who's involved in YouTube or social media as a United fan, and Arsenal fixture comes up, I think you're all just absolutely terrified. I felt sick before the game. It was like I was playing myself, and I was simply just watching. Honestly, I felt so nervous before the game. So was their game solidified you as a United fan. For me, Liverpool versus Juventus 2-0, Hippier and Luis Garcia, sorry, and that was what made him. Look, I was born obviously in '92, but you've got to say, for me growing up, it was more about Scholes was the reason I got involved in football, because my dad would always have football on TV. Class of '92 was around then, obviously, and it was always on TV, and I just loved watching. I loved watching Paul Scholes play. Firstly, I can remember seeing some of his passes. I think I want to try and do that, and me trying to replicate the passes. And that's why it's a big part of me personally. I wouldn't have played football if it wasn't for the class of '92 and it wasn't for Paul Scholes, which is why I loved United. If there's one game, obviously, that sticks in my mind, we have to say, obviously, the '99 Champions League final. Of course, that sticks in every Man United fan's mind.
Yeah.
But I also remember going to Rooney's first game against Fenerbahce. My dad sat next to me and he said, this kid is going to be one of the best players of your generation. He bagged a hat-trick in that game, in his debut, and that sticks in my head as well. Being at Old Trafford under the lights, it was just a magical experience, and I miss those experiences. Champions League nights under the lights, the best atmosphere for me at Old Trafford is on them nights. Meg, was there a game that solidified you as a United fan, an Arsenal fan, and you said then?
Like I said, the 1999 Champions League final, I can tell you where I was, I can tell you everything about it, I'll tell you which bar I was in, I can tell you which country, like I wasn't in England at the time, so but that pure memory, like that memory for me is amazing. But I did go to the George, when George Best died, went to a game. We played West Brom.
I was there. It's good.
Probably would have walked after.
We might have bumped into each other.
That game, I just remember the atmosphere there and just thinking how incredible it was. Like, in Old Trafford, and like all the way around, the flowers everywhere, and I know it was such a sad time, but it was just amazing, that whole game and atmosphere and that whole night for me, really.
I completely agree. I remember my dad putting a wolf scarf on the gates, because obviously people were laying down wreaths and memories for George Best, and I remember Callum Best speaking. The atmosphere was quite magic that evening. Definitely, the game, to be fair, wasn't amazing, if I remember rightly.
No.
Where it was the whole feeling of the night. It felt quite special. Like we were lucky to be there to play, obviously pay respects to such a magical player. I agree. It was a really nice atmosphere then. It's good. Right, guys. I think we actually got through all of the topics. To be fair, Meg, we flew through. Let's see if there's any more in the chat. Hi, Soph and Meg. If either of you were a United manager and had the chance to sign only one player in January, who would it be and why? Meg, you can start with that one.
I would sign Sancho, because
I was going to say Sanchez then.
I'd sign Sancho. I think he's electric. He's just got it. He's almost like that Sterling player that we haven't got, that Man City have got. I think he'll be clever. I think if he can, obviously he's young, so he's going to have time to learn, to adapt, to play, and I think I would I'd want him.
It's a good point. One player, that's a tough one. I'm going to focus on what kind of player we need. I would like Harry Kane. I would like Harry Kane, to be honest, at United. I would say Harry Kane. I think we need a goal scorer. We need an alternate striker. I think I'd take Harry Kane at United. Like Roy Keane says, just go and get him. Just go and get Harry Kane.
I'd love him to be in our squad.
What's that, sorry?
I'd love him to be in our squad.
Yeah, just imagine having Harry Kane up front. To be fair, I'll get slated for this. I would have loved Aguero at United. Absolutely loved Sergio Aguero in a United shirt. I think he would have been absolutely unreal. But for me, if I could choose any player, I'm going to focus on a position that we need, and Harry Kane would be up there as a choice for me. Sancho is a very good player as well. I do like him. I think he's still got a long way to go. I'm not sure coming to United in this moment of time is going to make him better, because again, our coaches need to prove that they can make a player improve. and they haven't done that enough for me. Like the way that Mason Mount is doing it at Chelsea, we need to see that kind of development of players under Ollie. But I would love to see him at Old Trafford in future, definitely.
I've got to change. I'd like Maddison as well. Can I have two?
Stop being greedy, Meg.
Can I take two of them?
Yeah, Maddison is good though, and obviously Maddison or Bruno Fernandes. Then, if you had to choose one of the two, because they're the two that we were linked to, would you have take Maddison or would you take Bruno?
Maddison. He's Premier League proven.
I completely agree with that, and I think he's getting better game by game. The only thing with Maddison, because he's English, I think we'll get absolutely stung with the transfer fee for him. I think he's going to be very expensive, but I do think he is one for the future, definitely. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Meg, thank you for coming on. It's been a really good show.
No, thank you everyone for having us. Thank you for all your comments and all your chats down below. I appreciate it. Sorry if we were a little bit late. I'll take full responsibility.
Kids, never have them. Never have kids.
Don't have them once a week.
Yeah, guys, so it's going to be, it should be 6 o'clock. Meg obviously will determine whether it'll be 6 o'clock, but every single Wednesday we want to make this a regular thing, so we'll always tweet out, ask for you guys to talk about topics. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, Meg, we were asked to talk about Brexit. It wouldn't be fair for me to bypass that. Brexit, I'll be honest, I don't know nothing about it. I didn't vote because for me politicians are all idiots and I have no opinion on it. It's just been dragging on for far too long. I'm sick of turning Good Morning Britain on before work in the morning and seeing those two politicians' faces who I just want to bang their heads together. I'm absolutely sick of it. I keep just turning it off in the morning. Meg, what's your opinion on Brexit?
I voted Remain, so I don't really have much of an opinion because it didn't happen. But I'm just sick of hearing about it. Like, I just want to be able to go on holiday and just be able to freely move and not worry about it. I've had to renew my passport dead quick because I didn't want to get caught out after this 31st of October that now isn't going to happen. But don't know what's going on with it.
So that's the level of the level of our knowledge on Brexit is basically Meg voted Remain because of her holidays and her passport. That's basically the level of our expertise in terms of Brexit. But yeah, Matthew made a good point. News channels should go 24 hours without saying the word Brexit for charity. That's a very good point. I'd say longer than 24 hours because I'm absolutely sick of it now. It's been dragging on for too long. I just hope they find an answer one way or another so we don't have to go on about it. And we can move forward as a country, really. But yeah, I don't have much insight on it because I don't really understand it, if I'm totally honest. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure having Meg on. Like I say, this will be a weekly thing now. First episode done. It's been a success. Appreciate it. Please drop a like on the video. Subscribe to Hairdryer Treatment as well. Go and follow Meg as well on social media. I have put that in the description of the video. She's another red. Fantastic insight on football as well. And you'll see a lot more of her on my channel. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely evening and take care.